Hello, friends. Welcome to Squaird Plans, where creative planning and organization comes to life. I'm Stephanie, and today I'll be showing you how I archive my old planners each year with a little DIY setup to save money and to condense down my storage. So, if that sounds good, let's jump in. First off, I'm going to be using these 1-inch plastic discs that I got in a pack of 100. I'll also be needing some cutting tools, so I have a pair of scissors here as well as my guillotine cutter. I have a Sharpie for marking measurements, some printouts for the archive covers, a couple of disc punch tools, including my power punch, this corner rounder punch that I'll be using as well, a ruler of sorts for measuring the sizing, and this cutting mat that I'll be turning into planner covers. Okay guys, so I have all of the materials listed down below in the video description if you want direct links to anything. But first off, I'm going to pull out my cutter here and prepare the cover sheets that I made for my planners. I do this because I am using clear frosted covers, which we're going to be making here in a second, and I like the idea of having the archive planners well labeled. So I recently came up with this cover sheet and think that this is just a nice simple way to make everything look very uniform but easy to find in my storage shelf. So I just basically printed it out at classic size and cut it down. And now I'm just going to hole punch this paper with my Happy Planner punch. It is basic standard 32-pound paper, not a heavy cardstock, so my Happy Planner punch can handle it. Anything heavier than lightweight cardstock, I would definitely recommend using the power punch for that. This is where the real DIY comes into play. In order to make a bunch of easy frosted covers for all of my archive planners, I went ahead and purchased this 15-inch cutting mat set. So I got a set of 10 cutting mats for I think under $20. I want to say maybe like $15 to $20, so that I could make out of each a classic size cover. 15 inches is important for that because if I cut it in half, that gives me 7.5 inches, which is just the perfect size for covering the width of the page. And then for the height, I am just cutting it down to 9.75 inches, which is another 1/2 inch bigger than the page size. So these cutting mats that I bought come with a pre-cut corner edge. And I found that it is the exact same size as my 7mm corner rounder punch. So I'm just punching the 3 sharp edges with my corner rounder to match them up and make a nice clean, soft edged cover. And now I'm going to find the center point on this cutting mat. And I have a ruler that's already got the measurement pre-written in, so I don't even have to think about it, since I make quite a few DIY covers. And I'm just going to mark it with a small line using my fine liner Sharpie. That just makes it easier to see for that very first cut. And the center line is important because it's kind of hard to judge from side to side with any preset punches. So starting in the center and working your way out on an odd numbered set of discs is the best way to go. If you're doing something like a half letter, be sure that you find the center point and then measure out the whole distance before you punch. It's a little bit different setup if you have even number of discs versus odd, so just keep that in mind. I've already punched the first side with my disc power punch, and this guy is perfect for these DIY projects. It handles these heavier materials so much better than a Happy Planner punch would. So if you are looking to do some DIY, pick up that tool. There's always deals at Michael's for under $30, and you can find them on Amazon too. I will link them down below. I also grabbed these 1-inch plastic discs off of Amazon in, like I said, a set of 100. That way I could get 10 covers and then also 10 planners all done at once with these 2 items. One thing I will say is that these discs are a little bit thicker than a normal Happy Planner style disc, and they don't slide as easily on the plastic with my disc power punch. It might be better if you are using like a Levenger or an arc disc punch where the holes are a little bit shorter but wider. For the Happy Planner style disc hole, it's a little too thin, I think, for these discs. So I do like to give them extra breathing room by cutting up the stem a little and just making it smoother on those plastic thicker discs. So I'm just using my scissors and cutting a little bit on each side of the stem to, again, widen it a bit. My scissors go through 2 sheets fairly easily, and they're not anything special, so you shouldn't have a problem doing this step, especially if you don't have a ton of planners to do. It's a pretty easy fix for something that can be pretty annoying if you don't do that step and have these covers really catch on everything. So I'm just going to drop in the 9 discs that I have here onto the cover, and we will get things moved over, starting with my 2024 Faith Planner. So normally I wait till the whole year is done before I do the archiving process, but I thought it would be nice to show you guys basically the steps at this point so you guys can plan ahead and make this happen for 2025 if need be. So I'm just grabbing all of my completed planner pages from my storage Faith Planner for 2024. I normally set these up at the end of the year before the year begins, and I put in all of my printables that I'm going to be using for that planner, or planner pages if I'm purchasing inserts or using a Happy Planner. And then I just work off of that every month, grabbing a month at a time to put into my catch-all Franken planner system, my one planner system. But at the end of the year, I have a bunch of months set in those specific planner themes like Faith, and need a place to keep those because I feel like those were a lot of work and a lot of creative ideas went into them, and I like to save them year after year. So I basically have come up with this archiving system to both condense everything down and also to save those items that I may want to reuse again, like the metal discs and covers. That's been the best method for me that I found in order to keep everything, but also not make it take up so much space, and to reuse the supplies that I really would like to use on a more regular basis. I feel like this method is great for any style of planners, especially disc-bound planners, but I think you could do something similar with ring-bound planners if you want to convert them to discs by cutting in the stems yourself for storage, or even if you have some sort of separate rings that you can use in order to attach it to these plastic covers and just use them kind of more loosely, not within a like leather bound system, for example. So I am going to go ahead and prepare the other 3 covers that I have ready to go with some plastic discs. And we will move over a couple more of the planners I have in my 2024 lineup. The first one I'm going to move here is my agenda planner. And at the front of that planner in its storage spot, I have my memory a day monthly pages. So I think I'm going to put those in their own separate archive storage binder, because this is the first year I did it where it was kind of a standalone item. And I think it'll be good to have a couple of years together in one system. So I'll be continuing that into 2025. And since there's not a ton of pages that I need to store, I think that I could do maybe like 2 or 3 years together in one setup. So I'll plan for that and then also move over the agenda planner items now into this binder I have set up. I am noticing that it's pretty thick here, especially in the last half of the year where I was combining a happy planner with my inserts, which made some of the pages be extra thick. So I was already running out of room on the 1.25 inch rings, and that was with the Memory a Day monthlies. So this time I am going to try to fit these in, but we're only going to get through, I think, maybe October's worth of monthlies, and it's already going to be pretty tight. Hopefully I can get those last 2 months of the year in there without it bursting at the seams. But honestly, it is a storage archive type system, so I'm not going to be in it all the time. It's just when I, maybe need some inspiration or just want to look back on certain times. So it's not going to be used that often, which again kind of makes this system work really great because, like I said, it's more of a DIY type of situation, but really does help condense down the storage of items and makes it easy to access and to find when you need it, even though that will probably be less frequent than you might think. So I'm going to go ahead and drop in the Memory a Day monthlies here into another binder that I've already preset up, but I forgot to make a cover for that. So I will do that after I'm done filming so that it's all ready to go. I might even wait and do this at the end of 2025 in case I do add that second year to this one setup. So I'm okay with it being as is now, and we will move on to the last planner we're going to move in, which is my health planner. I have a few items that I keep sometimes at the front of my planners, including like a pocket pages, some older inserts that maybe I'm not using in my catch-all, but do pertain to certain categories in my planner life. So I do keep a few things sometimes in those storage planners as well. I will just move those into either the next year's lineup if I'm not going to archive them here now, or maybe even in some other storage area in my archive system or in my planner storage system. I started taking about a month at a time, shifting those over to this new setup, but now I'm just pulling whatever feels like the right amount of pages and dropping them in. I am filming this in November, even though I think this is going to come out during Planmas, so it's a little bit off timing for you guys. This is the only planner where I haven't moved over the month of December yet into my catch-all. I'm going to add this bookmark that I had handy to make it easy for me to find those undone pages and move those over in a week or so. But that will be the plan for at least that last month there of my health planner. That is it, you guys. You can kind of get a good idea of how this will look on the shelf. I've got 3 ready to go, and of course I have all my previous years from 2018 all the way up into this year. So just a great way I find to archive and keep my planners year after year. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below. Also, go ahead and leave me a comment if you'd like to get in touch, and think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, if you'd like to see more of my videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and we will see you next time. Bye!